is in the studio with us this morning. Good morning, Dr. Jacob Seng.
Good morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming in. And you are up and bright and early. What does a morning routine look like for Dr. Jacob Seng?
For me,
Yeah.
I usually get up about 5:30. I go, take my shower. I read a little bit of meditation. And then I go wake Tommy up for school and get his breakfast ready. I usually take my wife her coffee in the morning to kind of so my wife is very much a night owl and I am a morning person.
Okay.
So we kind of, we help each other out on opposite ends of the day. So that I make sure that she has her coffee to get ready for the day. And then once Tom's up, I usually hugs, kisses, and then I'm out the door to work. We open the office at 7:30, so I like to get there at about 7 and get things turned on. And and a lot of my patients now know that I am there that early. So I usually open the doors about 7:15. So people
Don't say that out loud.
I know.
Next time you come in, you'll be like, we open the doors at 7 a.m. No, it's good.
Exactly.
But in all reality, you live and breathe making sure that hopefully you're healthy and eating healthy, taking care of things. What about a diet? Do you mind sharing that with us this morning?
Yeah. So what I do is I try to eat I eat a low carbohydrate based diet. For the longest time, because everything's an experiment. So for the better part of 5 years, I did the intermittent fasting. So I wouldn't eat anything until after my work. So I work out at 11 o'clock. Everyone's like, man, you got a great break in the middle of the day. And it's absolutely true. I structured it that way. So we go from 7:30 to 11 in the office. And then at 11, I work out. And then after my workout, I eat. And so I usually work out fasted. But just recently, to try to improve upon things, I started incorporating eggs. So at about 9:30 in the morning, so that's so coffee in the morning, and then I'll eat a couple eggs at about 9:30 because I felt like my workouts weren't going as well as I had hoped, and I could be getting older too, but I refuse to recognize that mortality side of things. And so that increased dose of protein going into my workouts, it held back some of the hunger pangs that I feel right at about 12. So I had a much better experience that way. So I'm going to start doing that for a little while. And then lunch is usually, again, low carbohydrate. I always try to eat a probiotic. I don't know if anyone ever talks about that. So, so fermented foods. So I usually incorporate, so it'll be like a chicken or lean meat or lean red meat. And then I'll either eat sauerkraut or kimchi. But what we're finding is that having healthy doses of probiotics on a daily basis just helps balance the gut flora, reduces things like acid reflux and stuff like that. Not that it was a problem, but it just helps every aspect of your life by reducing inflammation within your system. And then I don't eat anything till dinner. We get out of work at 6. I get home, usually dinner with Sarah and Tommy around 6:30. And again, that consists of vegetables, meat, some carbohydrates. I usually eat rice or potato. I'm not a huge fan of the refined carbohydrates and things like that. Gluten. I try to stay away from it. I don't have an allergy or an intolerance. I just don't like the way I feel when I eat it. So I stay away from that. In all honesty too, right about 8:30, my willpower starts to wind down a little bit, and I start looking for something sweet.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. I found that I can offset that a lot of times. So I'll eat like a chocolate covered cashews. So I'll eat 4 or 5 of those, and that usually holds it back.
So you have
a little bit.
bad but healthy at the same time.
Yeah, I try to balance it out, right? It's really, I know. And I know when you have a 12-year-old in the house, man, he's got some great snacks. And
I know.
And I want to raid his cupboard all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It's everything I can do to stay out of there.
Yep.
If you're just joining us, we're talking with Dr. Jacob Seng this morning from NorthStar Chiropractic. The reason why I brought that up is, obviously everybody has different routines in the morning. Is there things that you encourage your patients that you've seen over time to stay away from as part of their morning routine, if you don't mind?
Absolutely. And it really is the high doses of refined carbohydrates and sugars, and growing up and luckily now our children aren't exposed to the level of commercials that we were growing up, right? But a part of the balanced breakfast was your Frosted Flakes and your fruit and your orange juice. And like, when you really look at those things, like, that's just all sugar, right? When you eat a piece of bread, it turns to the same chemical compound that is sugar into your stomach. And so anyway, the reason why I encourage people to stay away from that stuff is because it just spikes blood sugar, right? And blood sugar spikes, we know that blood sugar spikes, insulin dumps into our system, and our blood sugar crashes. So the reason why I encourage a lot of my families to stay away from that is because how hard because we know this, we've been there. How hard is it to retain information when you're in a blood sugar crash, right? Yeah. And so, like, if I'm sending my child off to school, I have to make sure that, like, there's high levels of protein in his system that just maintains that blood sugar, and that he doesn't have those peaks and valleys, right? Or she has those peaks. I always refer to Tommy, right? So that's, I really try to encourage them to stay away from those things. And then if you do look to incorporate carbohydrates on a more regular part of your diet, wait till you've been active for the day and you're burning things and that kind of stuff.
So that brings me back to Janelle, and I'm not trying to poke a stick at you a little bit, but when she brings in like a Pepsi, or what is your double shot of what that you get normally?
Oh, it's a quadruple shot I get the blonde iced coffee at Starbucks.
And so when that comes in with her every single day or regularly,
I've been making my own actually.
Okay. Oh, okay, there we go.
But it does have a lot of sugar and cinnamon toast crunch creamer.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
The coffee's great. Where we draw the line is at the sugar creamer, right?
Yeah.
And that, because you, Janelle, have to go see Dr. Jacob here shortly. Not necessarily because of that, but you want your patients to be able to maximize their potential from a day-to-day, so that it makes it easier for you and for those adjustments, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what I really tell my patients, like, this is about creating shifts within your life. A lot of times it starts with chiropractic and it trickles out from there. But, like, yeah, I am looking to invoke change so that, like, they don't live in consistent pain. Like, it's not a sound strategy to come in a couple times a week for the rest of your life just to feel okay, right? And chiropractic shouldn't be the only healthy thing you do for yourself all week or all month, right? And so, like, I try to help them navigate those waters because, like, we've been fed a lot of misinformation and or just healthy habits that were passed down generationally, right? Like, oh, this is okay or this is not okay, and so, like, breaking those habits and educating everybody so that they can make those right choices in the moment, right?
So Janelle, you got some pressure on you this morning.
Hey, I don't eat cereal though, and that actually, like, I thought about that when you said that, like. Growing up, I feel like I always seen cereal commercials. Yeah. And now I'm thinking about it and I'm like, I don't remember the last time I've seen one. Right. And like you said, the Frosted Flakes, and all of a sudden the Frosted Flakes commercial like popped up in my head, or the Fruit Loop guy and everything. Yep. And now it's like, our entertainment was reading the back of a cereal box. But now I'm thinking, I can't even remember the last time I bought cereal.
Right.
But,
right.
Yeah.
So like the healthy alternative for the coffee would be like, well, obviously getting away from the sugar, but like just real organic half and half, or I know some people that use heavy whipping cream. The reason being is healthy fats, right? Healthy fats also stabilize blood sugar without spiking it. Everything in doses, right? Because like it or not, like calorie is a calorie, and so like we have to be cognizant of like what we're putting into our system. But yeah, like if you're looking to get away from that, and they do make some 0-calorie things and like sweeteners and stuff, and those have there's risk benefits to everything.
Right. Kind of like when you go from like Coca-Cola to Diet Coke, the artificial sweeteners and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes.
If you're just joining us, we're talking with Dr. Jacob Seng, NorthStar Chiropractic and NorthStar Fitness. We're getting ready for New Year's resolution time. That's when the gyms and the fitness centers and everything else, they start to see that increase. And let's just shift to gift cards. You're doing this gift card program, right?
Right, absolutely. We just, to be honest with you, we just wrapped it up. But if you guys still want to bring gift cards in, we'll gladly take them, make sure we get them in the hands of the school. But yeah, you bring in a $20 gift card from any downtown business, or local business, I should say, because we got some Meijer gift cards in there and stuff, which are wonderful. Bring in a local gift card, and then we'll gift you 5 classes to our gym.
That's very cool.
And you can try any of the classes. So like, we have the hot yoga, we have Pilates, we have the functional fitness classes, we have the strength training, we have just a wide offering of classes to kind of meet everyone's individualized needs. But yeah, we just try to give back a little bit, and then we take those gift cards up to the high school, and we'll give them to Mr. Boone, who is an angel of a man.
He is.
Yeah. And so we give him Mr. Boone, and he makes sure, like, we got him there yesterday morning so that he could hand them out as the kids got out of their last day of school for the Christmas season.
And how long have you been doing this program?
We've been doing it, man, since we've opened, and it's evolved along the way. We used to do like canned goods. So like Mr. Boone communicated that like toiletries were a real need and things like that. So we used to do that stuff, and then from there I think we did one year we did some clothing.
Yep.
And then we're finding like the gift cards are just an easy thing, and then the kids they can choose what they would like to have, and I think it's pretty cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
If you're just joining us, we're talking with Dr. Jacob Seng. Let's. Good morning. There's Dennis from LMTA. He drives one of the buses, and we appreciate all.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, do you have an age range for like your classes?
Yeah. So the adult classes, we really focus on, like, I want the kids to be, 15 is typically the youngest. And so, I do have some very mature 14-year-olds that have, their parents have been coming through for 10 years. They've been in the space. They know, they actually are almost as well educated as their parents in the system. So we'll do that a little bit case by case, but we really wait till they get about 15. And then the coachability comes along, the maturity comes along, and then they're not super offended when I'm like, hey man, you might want to peel some of that weight off that bar. You're gonna get hurt.
Right.
And they usually don't push back. Now I do, once in a while we'll do like just like events for young kids and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yep.
Very cool. Let's pivot one more time during your segment before we wrap up. You have trained, you and Dr. Andrew there, on this ring dinger adjustment there. It is unique to NorthStar Chiropractic, and it is also unique to the state of Michigan.
Yes.
Take us through that if you don't mind.
So I don't know if you guys have ever got online. And so ring dinger is I did not create that. Right?
I know when you said that, I was like, am I reading that right?
There's a doc in Houston, Dr. Gregory Johnson, and he's the man on YouTube and TikTok and things like that. You'll see the patients will come in, they'll lay flat on their back. He like locks their hips into a table, then he wraps a towel around their neck and he pulls. And it decompresses their whole spine. So Dr. Andrew brought this to my attention, and I'm watching videos, and I'm starting to see some of the results this guy is getting. And when you watch the videos online, it really doesn't do it justice, because those people come into his office and they're in debilitating pain. Like, they're walking crooked, they can't move. Even if I did just a standard chiropractic adjustment with those people, they would be yelling and writhing in pain, right?
Right.
So, and that's all he shows, right? Because that's like the miracle adjustment. Like they walk in crooked, they walk out straight, or they come in crooked, walk out straight, right?
Right.
All right. So I was like, we got to do this. And I don't like to do things halfway, right? And so I'm like, if we're going to do this, because like there's a lot of guys trying to rip it off, but if we're going to do this, let's go to Houston. So I had to sign up. I had to fill out this huge application about like so we could get accepted into his program. So we go to Houston and literally spent 3 days in his office with him as we watched him treat patients and educate us on the process and why we do things this way, and what, right down to the nuts and bolts of like how you bolt the table into the floor so the table doesn't slide. Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, the whole thing. And so once we did that, we took our test, we passed, and so we were the first ever official, what they call team ring dinger docs in the whole state of Michigan.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And honestly, the stuff is starting to happen in our office. Like, I don't have, people come in and I'm like, okay, 1 to 10, what's your pain level? And a lot of my people, like my early adopters who have been with me forever, they're like, it's just a nagging 6 when it's bad. Okay, so we don't have those like crazy like reactions that you'll see online. but they'll go from a 6 to not at all. And it's something that we've been working through from a chiropractic standpoint for years. So it's the first ever additional treatment I've ever added to the office.
Oh, wow.
And you guys, well, Chris, if you've ever been in the office, like, I don't do anything but chiropractic. I'm not going to sell you a pillow. I'm not going to sell you vitamins. Like, we have an incredible vitamin store in downtown Ludington. Like,
right.
I'll make recommendations, but you can go there and get good stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And or like lasers or none of those things. This is the first thing I ever added. And it's so worth it. Yeah. Right. Just seeing the results, noticing the changes within the body, watching people come in and they communicate with me what their experience have been since getting it. Now, it's not it's not a frequent adjustment. You don't do this a lot, because what we're doing as you're laying face up on the table and I pull, it decompresses your entire spine all at once because your hips are locked into place. Mm-hmm. The other thing it does is it breaks up all the scar tissue that lays lengthwise within the spine. So as it lays lengthwise within the spine, it builds up mainly because we spend so much time sitting, mm-hmm. right? And we've all had those days where next thing you know, you're 8 hours at your desk and you're hunched over. And you do that day in and day out, and your spine just like starts to cave in on itself, right? Yep. And so I come in there and I release all that, because what I do with standard chiropractic, I can adjust front to back, I can remove rotation to the spine, and I can change left to right. But what I can't do is lengthen and open that up. And this finally gives me the opportunity to do that. And it's been the missing piece to our office now, like, for years. So it's really cool to be able to offer it now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Were you nervous, like, when you...
Incredibly.
Like, because it looks really brutal. Like, I've seen it on TikToks, but it is amazing. Like, I think this guy got in a motorcycle accident, and he was in, like, pain. He walked, like, on a limp and everything, and then it was just brutal what this chiropractor was doing, and I was like, oh my God, like, this is scary. And then like, the guy was like crying because he was so happy that he was out of pain. Like, it is. And I was, and we're there, and he's a pretty charming guy, Dr. Johnson. Uh-huh. And he's like, all right, because you got to experience it, right? If I would never sell anything that I wouldn't do myself, right? Uh-huh. So he's like, all right, lay down, Jacob. And I don't know, he took one look at me, and I'm a bigger person. He laid into me, and I felt my whole spine just open up. And honestly, like, the blood flow changed, everything changed. And I'm staying in a hotel near the airport in Houston doing this. I slept like a baby. For all intents and purposes, in that situation, I would not sleep good at all. Right. And at that night, it was unbelievable, the change that I felt.
Very cool. Yeah. What about, before we wrap up, is, we want to make sure that the listeners, we look at both sides too. Yes. Is there certain listeners or viewers that this wouldn't be for, if you don't mind?
Well, and that's the thing too, is like, chiropractic isn't for everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's definitely contraindications to all our adjustments. And that's why we do the exam and x-rays in the office. Now, not everyone needs x-rays, right? A lot of things we can sift through with the exam, but we go through a list of questions that basically my intention is to rule you out. Right, so I take it from that approach, because it's about the patient safety first. Mm-hmm. Right. So we put the safety first. We ask the questions. We try to find if this person doesn't qualify for this, and then we kind of go from there.
All right, very good information. Yeah. If they want to get a hold of you, let's talk about hours, location for anybody new to NorthStar Chiropractic and fitness as well. Let's talk about that.
So we're right downtown on South Rath. Our telephone number is 231-843-8200, and you can call if the staff isn't available, you'll go right to our answering service. If they are, they can get you scheduled for that ring dinger adjustment if you'd like to do that, or we can just get you in for a standard exam and any necessary x-rays and that kind of stuff. Our website's nstarchiro.com, but we're on all the social medias and that kind of stuff. And you can see videos of us doing the ring dinger adjustments in the office, along with some other treatment stuff that we do in the office, so that you can kind of familiarize yourself with the setting. And my other doctor, Dr. Andrew, he's in the office, and he's also ring dinger certified. We're the only two in Michigan, like we said. Cool. So just try to familiarize yourself before you come in.
All right. Looking forward to it. Dr. Jacob Seng, thanks so much for hanging out with us, and congratulations on the training, certification, and offering this as a way to just keep us healthy and posture up and all that other stuff that goes along with it. But ultimately, we feel better the more we can take care of our bodies and our minds, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. It is 8:39 here on on 102.7 Mom FM and Hot Country Hits